So I've been always very curious about health implications of the foods you eat, especially in things like high protein meals, or if you don't even have enough fiber in your meals, and especially probiotics or prebiotics, which is just fiber, right? So on the topic of probiotics, high chance you guys have been drinking Yakult and kimchi or gherkins or pickles and things like that. They're all fermented foods. However, a recent trend has been blowing up, and that's kombucha, and it's essentially fermented tea. So I was curious about it, and I'm not really sure how it works, how it's made. So I found someone who made it, and she's good at it. Let's go check it out. Testing, testing.
Right,
okay.
There we are on.
Yep. Yeah. So the brewery is made up of two parts. The dry goods part, which is sectioned off by these yellow fences. So all of our empty cartons and bottles are stored there. We have a cold room as well for our finished product that we keep. And then when you walk into this area, it's the production area. So our tanks are here. So we have 2,000-liter tanks and then 4 500-liter ones. So we do our first fermentation, usually a green and a mix. Mix is just green and black mixed together for 10 to 12 days. That's the first fermentation. Then they get filtered slightly and pushed into these smaller bright tanks, as they're called, in which we do the flavoring, the second fermentation. Second fermentation is done by soaking fresh fruits in big grain bags in the cold kombucha. So we cool it down at that point in time to 2 degrees. It's soaked for about 24 hours. So, which is why our kombucha has a very light profile. We don't use juices or purees. Just it infuses very lightly, has a little bit of flavor, but it's not overpowering. And then we do a little bit of forced carbonation. We add some CO2, make it a bit more fizzy, and then the bottling gets done here. It's a very small little counter pressure bottling machine. It's great, but as we're expanding, we do notice it's not sufficient. Hence, we do want to get into a bottling line down the road. So we use a tamper-proof cap crimp system, so the caps get crimped on. We do make this kombucha as well for its collab label for Paul Bakery. So it's our kombucha, but it's for all the Paul bakeries as well. So they have yuzu, jasmine, and strawberry mints. So yeah, the team usually tries to empty the finished flavored kombucha tanks within about 3 to 4 days. We have a lot of different formats. We have the small 300 ml bottle. We have 1 liter bottles for little farms. We do kegs, big kegs, small kegs, so all kinds of volumes that we offer our clients. And I'll show you the fermentation room. So one of my brewers, Hauge, is busy right now, probably filling one of the Symbiosis fermenters, but we can step over and you can have a look. So the trays you'll see, they're about 140 liters each. Because they're very shallow and wide, there's a lot of contact with oxygen, which means that in 5 to 7 days, the kombucha is ready. Contrary to the big tanks, which takes much longer, double the time. They're open top, so we have to cover them with a cloth. Pests can get in and fruit flies, etc. Yeah, so we keep our starter in here as well. So I'll show you later, and he's done. And then this is our kettle, this guy here, in which we boil our tea. So the tea goes in with the sugar. There's a whirlpool system that kind of dissolves the sugar automatically, and then through hoses, we will pump it into the big tank. At the starter from the fermentation room, and then we let it sit for a fortnight, usually 10 days. That's our water filter. We use Singapore tap water, just fine. It just goes through charcoal, I can never say it, and a UV filter just for extra caution, and that's it. No, we thought about it, and it's a whole setup system to get it done. It takes time, and there's research now being done that kombucha is actually not the best thriving with such an reverse osmosis water. So yeah, we didn't venture into it. It works fine with our Singapore tap water. So yeah, want to see a SCOBY?
Yes.
Sure. No, this one's empty. We're running a bit low on starter, so this one's fresh. Hold on. I think I might store in one of these guys. Sure. Sorry, 2 minutes, we're out of your way. Okay, here. I don't know if you can see anything, but you're gonna have to come up and kind of face down.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so now they have a nice big fat SCOBY, which is obviously the size of the vat. So that's SCOBY that always grows on the surface. So whatever size your vat is, it'll adapt to it. Nice and healthy. Even these spots, that's all good. Darker spots is yeast. So yeah, can you smell the sourness? It's very sour. So we initially this room was supposed to be air conditioned. But because it's so sour and so acidic, every 2 to 3 months my aircon would spoil, which is rust and like have green stuff go through it. So we gave up because it was getting really costly. So now it's just room temp. No, it goes a bit faster. So we do have to keep up with it a bit more before it could take its time. So nowadays my jasmine especially and the sencha, which we brew in these trays, it goes really fast. Usually in 5 days, it's like sour and ready to keg.
But you have to keep the sunlight out.
Sunlight's better. We have just a basic tarp hanging in front of the window. That's it for now. I mean, sunlight is fine as long as it's not like blasting directly onto it, which is okay here.
So you wouldn't say it's very sensitive to it?
No. The hotter the temperature, the faster it goes. That's the only ratio you have to kind of keep in mind.
Much heat.
Huh? Yeah, and then you're like pasteurizing it. If you go over 60 degrees onwards, you're pasteurizing and then it dies off. So we're not at that yet in Singapore.
Right, and then it is fermenting goes fast. Once those are done, you have its heat and everything over there.
Yeah,
All right.
the liquid. So the SCOBY again is a byproduct. So we will harvest it and keep it aside. But what's the most important is that through these lines, the liquid that's in there is going to be pumped into that fresh tea. And that fresh tea is then going to start fermenting and becoming a new kombucha. Right. So yeah. So those is our smaller flavors. So the ones that we brew in here as well, we don't sell that much of them. So there's no point in making them in the big tanks right now. Right. We'll just have a tray every week or every 10 days ready. So we initially brew the fresh tea in the pots. It gets pumped into the trays. We add a little bit of old kombucha starter, and then we wait for the magic to happen again, and that's it. Okay. So it's both starter, but also other flavors that we use for resale.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as once everything's done after say 2 weeks, ish, then you guys will pump it up.
The other smaller ones. So yeah, no, these ones. So initially we'll do it in here in these two big ones. And then when it's ready after 10 to 12 days, we'll pump it into these 4 500-liter ones. We'll split it up, and then each becomes a different flavor. Okay. So for example, if this was a green, 1,000 liters, we'd have 500 of lemongrass and turmeric and 500 of yuzu lavender. Okay. And then this would be a mix. It would go for strawberry mints and raspberry passion fruits. Okay. That's our core ones that we make. So right now it's putting in a bit of CO2 to make it fizzy. Okay. It is naturally very lightly fizzy, but because it's such a large volume and we're filtering it and we're manipulating it, that fizziness dissipates, so we add a bit of extra. Just to add a hint of, yeah.
Okay. So once that is done, you guys will run a pipe straight to the bottles? Or?
So the bottling machine, no, we'll just fill a keg from the tank, bring the keg over and then bottle it. Okay. We do have to optimize and probably run a line, but right now it's just to a keg. Okay. Yeah, hopefully, yes.
And this, once everything's bottled and packaged in front, you guys do your own delivery?
Yeah, we have our own truck that says Wildbucha Kombucha on it.
That's good.
My full-time driver, Ali, who's on the road every day delivering kombucha to all the cafes, restaurants, and private consumers. He's usually out from like 9 to 5 as well. Full truck. I'll show you the cold room.
Okay, let's go.
Cold room might be... No, it's still pretty full. They've been working hard to fill it up.
Do you guys rent this?
We just lease it, we rent it. Okay. We didn't buy it. So on this side is all little farms ready for next week's stock. This is usually in 2 to 3 days. We have to keep refilling because it goes really fast. And these are like all our flavors. This is a citrus sencha that we have here, for example. And then
All these are specialty kegs, different flavor.
it's just backup stock that we keep until we have time to bottle it.
Okay.
Because some clients, again, as mentioned, some clients have our kombucha on tap, so they will require these kegs for their bars.
Oh.
So we always keep some stock here for them as well. So we try to do next day delivery as much as we can. Or when they run out, or then, it's been the weekend, and on Monday they need again, so straight away we can top them up. And
Okay. So you guys printed it in Singapore as well? Or?
Malaysia. Yes. And we have these little kegs as well. That's a 3 liter.
Individual use? Or?
Yeah, so they're little farms as well. And you can use this with a little hand pump. But there's also a little Eve dispenser. It's really cute. Looks like you could have for home. And so you just kind of pop it in.
Exactly.
And you have kombucha on tap at home. So it's really nice as well. Yeah. That's it.
So kombucha is actually a fermented drink that was first discovered about 2,000 over years ago in China. Not really sure about the actual history of it, but yeah, thereabouts. Recently, it's found a trend in the cafes and that whole, hipster kind of realm, but it is making its way into mainstream science, especially when it comes to fermented foods. Whole science and research about the gut microbiome and how it actually has a relationship to you and your brain, and like for example, maybe it craves certain fast foods which will tell your brain and I have some burgers instead, and then you go crave for a burger. So they're trying to figure that all out right now. They really know for a fact that gut microbiome is a very important thing. We just don't know to what extent. It's just an emerging kind of science right now. We're just trying to figure it out. But yeah, so kombucha and fermented foods in general are pretty good in terms of probiotics. But of course, prebiotic or fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber are still important, and there's tons of research to show that they are actually good for you and good for your health. But anyways, gut microbiome, there are a couple of bacteria species like the Lactobacillus nigella, the Gluconasobacter, Gluconobacter, and the Comagotebacter species. I definitely butcher those names. But yeah, there's some common questions when it comes to kombucha, like you eat the bacteria, yeah, it's like Yakult, right? You can, yes, there's live bacteria in kombucha, and of course the bad thing is, how do you know that if your kombucha has bad bacteria? So of course if you have a very pungent, not sour history, like decaying, death, then yeah, it looks not good to drink. And yeah, it's safe to drink every day. However, I would still 100% recommend you to ask for your doctor's advice first, because everyone's different and we don't know whether you have allergies or maybe your body just doesn't like it and rejects it, and very bad symptoms might arise from that. So ask your doctor first. And there are some negatives, because at the end of the day it can lead to excess sugar, calorie intake. It's more of like over consuming things, or like for example digestive distresses, because you really never know whether your body can have it in or not. And one interesting thing that I should be asked Michelle during the conversation was actually, is it considered halal? Because Malaysia does have alcohol. The funny thing is, Malaysia does allow the sale of it, and it's not considered as an alcoholic drink. It does have a very low alcohol content, but it's still considered halal because alcohol is just a byproduct of natural fermentation process. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's so many other things that we still don't know about kombucha and the health benefits it does to people. I do understand when I was doing my research, many websites do claim that it does help this and that, but it's just not proven yet. Science is still ongoing, especially about the benefits of fermented foods, especially the benefit it does to the gut microbiome, which I mentioned previously. So that's still in research. But what's a fact is prebiotics, fiber, is very important. So can this replace by eating your vegetables instead? No, you still eat your vegetables, eat your beans, eat your legumes, eat your almond. By the way, almonds are seed, nut. Fun fact. And we had a very fun time at Wildbucha. It was a very cozy, it's not that big of a factory, but they do churn out a lot of bottles a day. And they are doing great. So it's really good to see some startup in Singapore to do big things. Well, right now, and then we were really excited that we got this opportunity to head down to Wildbucha to check it out. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. And of course, if you want to learn more about fitness and your health and what it takes to be a healthy individual more sustainably, check us out. Give us a follow, give us a like. And if you want to see the full interview that we had with Michelle from Wildbucha, we're going to upload the video soon. You can go check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.